Welcome to this week's episode of the Soto Mojo Podcast. My name is Trevor.
And my name is Ethan.
And we're just a couple of high school baseball coaches from Tacoma who love talking Mariners baseball. Bro, I thought, where's the catchphrase?
We're so back.
There it is.
We're so
Why is it so delayed?
We're so back.
The people want to hear we're so back. By the way, we probably should have trademarked that because the Mariners are using that. Other podcasts are using that. They all want to be like you, bro.
Yeah. What can I say?
I mean, who could blame them?
What can I say?
Hey, if you are watching on YouTube, welcome. But you'll also notice that we are in our official studio. It's still getting worked out. We're still going to be putting things up, decorations or whatever, but the sound quality should sound phenomenal. And
Hopefully.
No, it is. It is. But man, our studio is awesome. Our producer's done a great job getting us all set up in here. So we're excited to get this show, like, we're up and going.
Fired up.
We're getting fired up.
Whatever.
Listen, we're getting fired up, dude. We're hunting giants. Here we go. We're hunting giants.
Giants.
Listen, man, high school baseball, we're having a blast. We're a couple weeks in. Wow, geez, we're a month in now, which is crazy.
Yeah, we are. Wow.
We have a big week this week. Game day today.
Yep.
So hunting some giants. All right, man. Hey, so let's get around the league. Man, what is going on in baseball?
I love it.
Apparently everybody and their mother is deciding to fight. And of course, Cabby is at the center of one of them. Like, are we even surprised at this point?
I don't even know why he was mad.
We're talking about game, 2. Like, why are we fighting already? So the one that,
Set the tone.
The one that makes sense, honestly, was that Reese Hoskins slid in hard to McNeil with the Mets, and McNeil did not like it.
No.
He threw a big old fit.
I mean, I wouldn't like it either.
Well, but here's the deal, is they showed video. There's other video on Twitter of him sliding into guys like 13 feet off the base. So, I mean,
That is true.
All I'm saying is, like, everybody does it. Like, I don't understand why he decided to, but it was hilarious. Hoskins' response to him, he doesn't talk to him. Right. He doesn't talk to him at all. And then, like, goes over to their dugout and then, gives him the big old, like, the cry symbol.
Why do that from the dugout? That's so stupid.
Well, right. Well, because guys like to talk. They don't like to.
Yeah, they like to talk. They don't like to actually fight.
Yeah, they don't like to actually fight, as baseball brawls typically are. I mean, like, our brawl against the Angels 2 years ago
Was insane.
was an actual brawl.
Yeah.
Like
that was
actual
something.
actual swings being thrown, like, kind of crazy. These are like brawls in quotation marks. Like, the guys all leave the bullpen. There was only one suspension, and it was because of the next day.
Yeah.
Hoskins goes yard. He has like 4 RBIs on the day, and then they decide to throw at his head.
Of course.
And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm like, if you're gonna throw at a guy, throw at him after the game. Like,
And don't throw at his head.
right. Don't throw at his head, one, and then it needs to be his first at bat. Like, don't try to send a signal to him on his last at bat of the day after he's already torched you.
Yep.
Makes no sense. So, anyways, the Mets started off the season terrible. The Brewers took them to town. They played really well, and apparently there's now a Brewers and Mets rivalry that has sprouted up.
Only because of Reese Hoskins.
Only because of Hoskins. So, you want to tell me about the other one, our boy Cabby?
I don't even know how this happens. Right. I forget the exact play.
So he bunts.
Yeah.
And the pitcher for the Blue Jays throws it away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he ends up, like, running to second and then tries to take third.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is he gets thrown out by a mile because, Cabby on the base paths, we know his IQ.
Yeah.
And gets thrown out by a ton, doesn't even try to slide, and just, like, runs through the base, and the pitcher is there to back it up.
Because that's where the pitcher should be.
That's where the pitcher is supposed to be. But I think Cabrera, right?
Yeah.
Cabrera did not like that he ran through the bag and then was, like, nose to nose with him.
Yeah,
So I'm sure Cabby said something dumb. And then Cabrera took exception to that and shoved Cabby at one point in this engagement, and then that's what cleared the benches.
Cabby, dude.
It's always
I can't with Cabby.
I mean, I kind of miss it, dude. Honestly, it was.
I miss the firepower, But like,
Well, he did not have firepower. He just had a mouth.
but like every team had that like urge to just get pissed off against us, which is kind of not a good thing.
Yeah.
So, Cabby, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Some really funny timing. Really funny timing. So I'm not joking. I'm literally listening to last week's show because I'm a perfectionist and I'm always trying to like improve and trying to get better. I'm literally listening to the show where we're talking about our predictions of all this stuff. We get to the Twins, and I'm not kidding. We're literally talking about the fact that you think that the Twins are going to stay healthy, specifically Royce Lewis is going to stay healthy. And then I look at my phone at a red light and I see that he's already injured and out for a bit. Who knows for how long, right? Messed up his knee again.
It was like 10-day IL. But I'm like, are you kidding me?
Literally game 1.
Well, hey, Twins, if you ever listen to this, okay, maybe when you have Byron Buxton and Royce Lewis on your team, maybe you should DH one of them and not Manuel Margot. That'd be something.
That's
right?
probably ideal.
It's probably ideal. So I can't wait for Buxton to play about 15 more games in center before he gets hurt. Why are you playing them in the field? It's moronic.
Yep.
And I understand if you have a Mitch Garver, as your DH. Manuel Margot, he got traded. He played like 2 spring games with the Dodgers, and like, nah, we don't want this guy. Why is he starting at DH on opening day? Like, that's bad. That's some really bad stuff. You telling me the Twins have 1 million infielders and they can't have someone play third? Well, now you can't because Royce is now hurt. So it's so freaking moronic. You have Willie Castro, you have Edward Julian, you have Kyle Farmer that can play third. Nope. We're going to stick the injury-prone guy there. So.
Yeah. So he's already hurt. So that's that, unfortunately. Hey, we did see some interesting developments. The Dodgers are being the Dodgers and torching the ball. Of course, Teo, I think he has 3 home runs already.
4.
Is it 4 now? Oh, yeah, he had 1 last night.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. He has 4 home runs already for the Dodgers. Of course, he looks great. They're throwing breaking pitches, although granted, the home run he hit yesterday
was on a slider.
Was a slider in the middle of the plate, though. 82 miles an hour and took it yard. So I'm going to say, okay.
I don't even think it was 82.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Was it 70-something? It was 70
because it was Tyler Rogers.
Right. So anyways, but the interesting part for the Dodgers.
73 miles an hour.
There it is, 73. Is that Ohtani, he was in a clutch situation with the bases loaded, end of the game.
Down by one,
and popped out. And they lost. The game they lost was because of that. But other than that, they've been just torching. Granted, they were playing the Cardinals, so, put that with where you will. But, Ohtani doesn't have to carry, and they win. So he's not used to that, right? The Angels, it was like he would carry, and they would still lose. And now he's like, doesn't have to carry, and they're still winning. So I bet he's going to enjoy that new situation.
Well, I mean, when you spend, $300 million on your team for this year only, it's kind of what happens. Just saying.
Yeah. You want to talk about your Pirates?
My Pirates? Whose Pirates are we talking about?
Yours.
They're 5-0. I mean, they swept the Marlins in 4 games. Wow, the Marlins went 0-5 to start the year. I'm so shocked.
So what's funny, though, is I'm listening to the show last week, and I literally hear that about the Twins, and then you start popping off about the Marlins, and I'm literally watching that. And Tim Anderson, who you specifically call out as, like, trash, he literally hits a 2 RBI double.
I didn't say he was trash. I said they were counting on him way too much considering he was trash last year.
Yeah, anyways, but yeah.
So the Pirates are 5-0. The Marlins are 0-5. Pirates have they beat the Marlins and they beat the Nationals yesterday. What does that really mean?
It means nothing.
Exactly. They were, 21-9 last year to start the year? Yeah, look where got them. 4th place.
Yeah.
They only beat the Cardinals by like a game. And the Cardinals were garbage last year.
Yep. So we'll see. Again, we're going to have to put this caveat on a lot of this conversation is we're only 5 days into opening day, right? Like we are not meant to make like wide sweeping conclusions based on the Mariners, the whole league, anything on 5 days.
But there's things that
like
go
people need to
towards that
down.
opinion.
What's that?
There's things you can make towards that opinion that, could you could make an opinion in like 3-4 weeks, but not 3-4 days.
Dude, did you see Aaron Levine ask questions of Scott Service about like trends? And Scott Service did not like it. He kind of fired back at him real fast.
I did not see that.
Yeah. So Aaron Levine asked him like what trends he was seeing, and Scott was like, "It's early. We're literally like 4 days into the season," and he like kind of spit back. And Aaron held his ground to his credit. So we did see that the Diamondbacks are coming out with a vengeance. They put up 14 runs.
You should have heard the piece. So I was at opening day, right? I look at the scores on my phone, right? And I feel like everybody did it simultaneously because my entire section goes, whoa. Seeing that the Diamondbacks put up 14 runs in the third inning on opening day. So Kyle Freeland for Colorado got shelled. Then they thought it would be a good idea to bring this reliever who's never pitched before in the third inning. Yeah, he gave up 7 earned runs and got 1 out. So now he has a career ERA of 156.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's great.
Sounds like a great ERA.
A great career ERA, 156. Kidding me? So, yeah. But then they scored, 16 in the first 3 innings and then didn't score the rest of the game.
Well, I mean,
against the Rockies.
Why do you need to if you're up 16? I'm just saying.
You're not telling them to watch every pitch.
True. But yeah, I mean, but the D-backs look great. They've already come out and said that they're going to add at the deadline. They are serious. Like, this is what the Mariners should look like in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
They should have added and just gone after it. And it's just whatever. I'm not going to bring up 2023. I need to just get over it. We're in a new season. It is what it is. But I do see that the Diamondbacks are, pressing into what was a good season last year where they overperformed and then added to it for this year, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we should be doing. Like, I can't stress it enough. So it makes us a little upset, but
some news that is related to a specific Mariner is Will Smith, so catcher for the Dodgers, signed a 10-year, $140 million contract extension. That's
so weird.
That is weird, and also that's a big number for him.
Well, because he's 29,
right?
And he's a catcher being signed to a 10-year contract. So, I think it's a little front-loaded. So, like, he's getting a lot of money now, but then later he won't get a lot.
I mean, the odds of him actually playing all 10 years with the Dodgers
very low.
Right, pretty slim.
I mean, even if he could be a DH down the road, which he's proven he could be.
Not with Ohtani in the lineup.
Not with Ohtani, true, but
so but the reason why this is important is because obviously Cal is paying attention. So any action that's happening
kind of helps us.
It does, and honestly, the Cal extension is one of the things that are looming that like I'm nervous about. I would love to see that happen, just because of who he is and what he means to our rotation, the leadership that he's shown. I don't know. So when I see other catchers, I'm like, oh, okay, like that piques my attention because obviously at some point the extensions for George Kirby is going to be huge. The extension of Logan Gilbert's going to be huge. The extension of Cal is going to be huge. And like just saying like our young core is really fun as it's young, but like as they get older, we're going to have to like make really hard choices about who we keep and who we don't. There's zero chance our front office is going to
sign all 3.
Extend all of those guys.
We know Jerry wants to.
Right.
We know who doesn't. So,
yeah. Hey, speaking of what the front office has done poorly, so remember when Jared Kelnick accused the front office of contract manipulation so that way he could, he got shoved down in the minors and then got pulled up after a certain point and then he came up and sucked. And so then it really disproved his theory really fast. This is happening in real time to Jackson Holliday.
Yeah. It also kind of helps. It's also like not as bad, I think, because the Orioles have such a stacked roster already. So
I mean,
they have a stacked team, so it's not as bad.
They have a stacked team, but he is crushing AAA and crushed spring training. There's no reason why he shouldn't be up. I mean, if White Langford's up with the Rangers, who are as stacked as the Rangers are, then why is he not up?
They also kind of needed Langford. Not as much as the Orioles need Holiday. I mean, freaking what's his name? Jordan Westbrook hit a home run or a walk-off home run yesterday. Gunnar Henderson's their shortstop. Now, you could put Holiday at third, but how much third has he played? We don't know. You know who they have at third, actually? The brother of Luis Urias, Ramon Urias. He's actually a stud, though. So
He's actually a stud. Yeah,
he's actually a stud.
dear Lord.
Won a Gold Glove before, actually.
A couple of quick things. Mookie Betts is already at over 1 F4, which is crazy.
My MVP pick, by the way.
5 games. I mean, that was not your MVP. We did this last week. You did not pick him for MVP.
Oh, I did change it. Yeah, that is right. I had Mookie at first, and I said
check.
Ronald. I said Ronald's going to go back to back.
Check. And then we saw Mike Clevenger agreed to terms with the White Sox. And the last thing I wanted to finish off with is that the Fanatics uniforms continue to be trash. Dude, they didn't deliver the creams for Sunday. People were asking, like, why did the Mariners not play in creams on Sunday? Because the Fanatics didn't have their uniforms.
They didn't supply it in time. How do you not supply it in time?
What are you doing? And they look terrible. Dom Canzone is doing the post interview, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but he's doing the post game interview yesterday, and his pants are 100% see through. You can see his jersey through. Like, I'm like, what are we doing? How is this not a problem in high school baseball, but it's a problem for the MLB? Like, what a disaster, dude.
Yeah.
A disaster, Fanatics. So, anyways, we have a ton of Mariners updates, and we just went way too long probably in the Around the League for how much Mariners stuff we have to get to.
Probably.
So, let's get after it. Let's get into our Mariners updates. All right, so we have a ton, obviously, with our first couple games. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of opinions that we all have.
Yeah.
Some cool things we'll start off with. Nelson Cruz, right, got signed to a 1 year deal. 1 year, dear Lord. That would actually be awesome, but whatever. One day contract so that he could retire a Mariner, which is cool. And then we also saw him throw out the first pitch. I mean, you were there. So, I mean, like, What was it like? I mean, was it cool?
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I legitimately thought, so I watched, once the pitch happened, right, I watched Stanton, he was down there, grab a podium, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to talk and he's going to steal all the spotlight. And I lean over to my mom, like, oh my God, John Stanton's going to talk. He didn't. So.
Good for him.
That saves the boos a little bit. Like, that would have been so loud.
Oh, yeah.
So loud. I even said it on the last episode. I'm like, if he talks, that is the loudest the stadium is going to get the entire day because of how loud they're going to boo him. No one's going to know what he says until they literally watch Nelson Cruz sign a contract. But he signed the one-day contract to retire a Mariner. Honestly, people are shocked by the decision. I mean, I know why he did it. He had his most productive years with us, and that was the big thing.
And he loved playing in Seattle, too.
Yeah, he said on Seattle Sports he loves the weather and he loves everything about it. I'm like, all right, you don't hear that often. I love the rain. Okay, I mean, I guess he grew up in the DR. He lived in Miami where it doesn't rain as much, so he loves the rain here. Awesome guy, love him. That also means technically he serves the 5-year service period you need to be in the Mariners Hall of Fame.
Which is probably down the road.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
And what's really cool is it opens up the door for him that if he gets into the baseball Hall of Fame, like he might do it with the Mariners hat on.
Yeah, but didn't he take roids? Like back in Texas?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Was it ever proven?
I think so.
Okay.
I can fact check it real quick.
Yeah, there you go. Some other cool news. So Brian Anderson, we talked about him last week, obviously got released. And we were like, yeah, like he's going to find some landing spot. He had a great spring. He's a good depth piece at third base. He didn't, which is crazy. So he signed a new minor league contract with the org and is starting the year with the Rainiers. So, dude, the Rainiers are stacked. Side note. Like, they have a solid squad top to bottom, which is fun. I'm probably going to go to a ton of Rainiers games this summer.
I want to. I haven't been to one in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's
been crazy.
Well, it's easy. It's so good to take my family to, too. My kids love it, and they get way more foul balls, and it's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the roster when I was there last. It was,
It was probably not pretty.
yeah.
But speaking in that same vein, obviously the Mariners had to DFA Taylor Trammell. We talked about that on last week's show. We expected that. The one thing we haven't expected is nobody's picked him up yet.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's supposed to happen today if someone does.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I have a feeling that a lot of teams are going to be knocking on that door, though. He had a great spring, went to driveline, like a lot of things that he struggled with, where he was like sliding his hips through the zone or whatever. Like he really fixed a lot of that stuff. His swing looked good, honestly, during the spring. So we'll see where he lands. He's obviously fast, good glove in the outfield. Average arm. So he should land somewhere, which it'd be shocking if he doesn't. So, best case scenario, he pulls a Brian Anderson. I don't want to say it's not going to happen now because it just happened with Brian. It'd be great if he came back to the Mariners org in some shape or form. Like, we'd love him to be in the org still.
Yeah, honestly, I thought if one of the two, if you were to say Brian Anderson and Taylor Trammell were DFA'd, right, and one is on the Rainiers and one goes to another team, who would that person be that you'd say goes to another team? I'd say Brian Anderson. So it's kind of surprising that Brian Anderson is still with us. So that probably means, it's a better chance that Taylor will stay in Tacoma, which is honestly, I'm happy for him. If either way, okay, either he stays in Seattle or he goes to a different team, good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't know how many major league rosters he'd be on right now. That's the only thing.
Sure. And that's probably why if he signed, he knew that he would be in the similar spot.
Exactly.
So whatever. Hey, so one of our listeners asked a question this last week, asked us to specifically address the issue. So shout out to Stephen Joseph. Thanks for the engagement on X. He asked if we could address the issues of actually watching the Mariners, which it has been and is a constant issue. So you either have Xfinity, which is what I do. Honestly, I just don't want to put up with the headache. My parents just moved to doing Fubo, and I'm literally at their house on Sunday for Easter, and the game keeps like tripping in and out. It has lag issues. It loses connection. I'm literally, and so then I just pull it up on my phone and I'm just streaming on the Root app on my phone because it's more consistent than what Fubo's offering, and Fubo's on delay. So I had to like turn off.
You do have to pay for Root.
Yeah, so that's the downside, right? Yeah. Is you're either choosing to pay out the nose for Xfinity, or you go the cheaper option and go to Fubo, but it sucks. And then you add on top of that they also play on Apple TV on Fridays from time to time. So you have to have three different, like...
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And then not on top of that, like then you have blackouts, which have been an issue forever. But it's like, this is why baseball sucks. Like, I love baseball to death, but this is the one thing they do really poorly. They suck at marketing themselves. Like, the biggest...
They suck at marketing viewership, yeah.
Right, like, the biggest players in the game, like, don't get enough, like, talk time on major ESPN.
Other than the Dodgers players.
Other than Dodgers players. And so on a national scale, they're like, why can't we ever get on the same level of NFL? I'm like, because you guys suck at marketing. Also, the NFL, you know what channels they play on? ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. Everybody has those channels. Even if you don't have cable, you have those channels.
Even the NBA, TNT, ESPN, the same channels you just said. Like, now you will have the argument of NFL likes to have some games on Peacock and
that's just starting too, but they're realizing really quickly it's the same.
It's not working.
It's not working. And so I'm just like, I don't get it why, like, at the end, baseball is a business, right? We keep talking about that. Like, baseball is a business. How are you this bad at business?
It doesn't make sense.
Like, you make it difficult to consume your product. You make it challenging. And then you do blackouts. I'm like, don't you want people to watch? Like, why do you black out the people that are going to be most likely to watch your sport, your product? You don't think
Do you not want them to? Like,
right.
Then just say that.
Right. I'm like, and so it doesn't make any sense. So Steven, you're absolutely right. He was really frustrated. He's like, hey, can you guys talk about this? Like, I cannot figure out an option that makes sense. It's not me paying through the nose, that is high quality. And we have all these issues of it being on all these different channels at different times and whatever. It's annoying, dude. It is super annoying. So your grief, Steven, is well heard. Thanks for reaching out and asking. I don't have any solutions. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully Amazon, which we've actually seen for other teams and their media deals, we're seeing Amazon start to take over some MLB broadcasts. I'm like, maybe that's the answer because most people have Prime. So it's like, hey, if we have the ability to stream games through Amazon Prime, like I'm totally fine with that. And Thursday Night Football, right, for the NFL, they do that, and those games get watched.
Yeah, they get watched a little bit. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it's just Anyways, it's just
you can watch on a lot
really
of different things. Because here's the thing, I don't even watch on Root or Fubo or. I watch on something I can't explain.
I was gonna say, do you watch on an undisclosed?
Undisclosed, yeah. Every game so far I've watched on an undisclosed website.
Wow, there's that. So moving on,
free.
guys. So we are five games in. I'm just gonna give this disclaimer right now. Ethan put this note in here. I'll let you go off. You go off, and then. But I just want to we're 5 games into the season. Go ahead.
Why can we never generate offense in the first series? Like ever. It doesn't make sense. Every single year, we cannot muster anything on offense in the first week or so. Why? Why does that happen? It's like completely frustrating. And especially in this year where you need to get off to a hot start because the Rangers don't have half of their pitching, 75% of their pitching staff. Neither do the Astros, right? So you have to get off to good starts. And Julio, Polanco, and JP are hitting like 150 combined.
But here's what's cool. They're hitting 150 combined, and we're still 3-2.
Yeah, that's great.
No, that tells me that like we actually have depth to our lineup, right? So East Coast M's, a little shout out. East Coast M's was talking about this on Twitter last night, pointing that same thing out. And it's like, hey, we actually have a lineup that's longer, right? And deeper depth of like viable backup solutions, right? That's a big deal.
But here's the thing. We are lucky we did not go 0-4 in that first series. Because our first win was 1-0. And then our second win, we mustered 3 runs in the 10th inning.
To pull it out. Right.
So, like, from a stretch from, the 6th inning on opening day, all the way to the 10th inning 2 days later, we had nothing. Literally nothing. Why does that keep happening? And it's strikeouts. That's the thing. You want to say, oh, we have a roster that we wanted to cut down on strikeouts, so we got rid of Kelnick and Teoscar and Gino, and that is true. You got rid of strikeouts, right? But we're second in strikeout percentage in the entire league.
Yeah, after that first series,
explain it to me.
If you're unaware, we're the second highest strikeout percentage in the league. We're at what, 33%?
That's insane.
That's insane.
It's actually higher at this point this year than it was at this point last year.
Right. So in 23, it was at 25%.
8%? And by the way, that's with less power.
Right. That's
on this year's team.
That's more contact oriented. Right?
This is more contact and slightly speed oriented. That actually fits T-Mobile Park in this time of the year. So,
although I will say this, we got
put the ball in play.
We got Marine layered a few times this series.
That is true.
But my point is, I don't know why, but the Marine layer only affects Mariners hitters.
Only us.
Because Rafi Devers went yard oppo, and it looked like a pop out.
Tyler O'Neill.
Well, Tyler O'Neill pieced his though.
Yeah.
I mean, that was different. But I'm just saying, Devers, that at bat, like he swung. It looked like he got it off the end of the bat. He goes to the left center gap, right? He's a lefty. And he goes to the left center gap going oppo. And I was like, oh, that's a pop out at the track. And then it goes out. And I'm like, what the? And then you see Josh Rojas fly out at the track. You saw Garver fly out at the track. You saw, we saw so many guys fly.
Polanco
twice at the track.
Dude, and then he hit the one
that the wind kicked.
Yeah.
It missed it by 3
This is
feet.
crazy.
Yeah.
The wind blew it 14 feet foul. Or 14 feet in the duration of when it was in the air. And it went foul by 3 feet.
Yeah, that was crazy. Guy. So, I mean, this is what I'm going to talk about, and this is probably going to be the name of this week's episode, is there is a stat called BABIP. Okay, BABIP.
BABIP.
I call it BABIP. I know it's not correct, but that's what I like to call it.
Okay.
But what I will say is this, is that BABIP is a thing. That first game, so opening day, yes, there were some strikeouts, but we also were barreling the ball up when we were putting it in play and just happening to hit it right at guys.
Yeah,
Ty
but
France
that was
had a
on.
couple that were like pieced that went to the right.
Okay,
fielder.
but you're saying 1 out of the 4 games in the first series.
No, I'm saying the first 3 games, our BABIP luck was like stupid bad. Or no, the first 2 games. Yeah, no, the first 3. Because then the BABIP started to turn in the extra innings game that we did win, which we'll talk about in just a second. But my point is this, is BABIP luck has a lot to do with it, right? You put the ball in play, good things happen.
But you haven't.
And the strikeout percentage was better last night than it was during Cleveland series. The at-bats looked way better last night. In the Cleveland series, not in the Red Sox series. And all I'm saying is this, is it's getting better. On the bright side, the pitching was really good.
Yeah.
The pitching was really good.
Well, yeah.
Bryce Miller got tapped up a bit. That was the only exception, though.
Yeah.
Everyone else looked
literally the first 3 games of the series, it was, okay, did we pitch? Well, honestly, the whole series, it was, did we pitch to pretty much perfection? No? Okay, we lost. But if we did, we won. I mean, we'll get into the stats in a sec, but like, it's super frustrating to watch strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. I even tell my 13-year-olds this.
Just put the ball in play.
Put the ball in play.
See what happens.
For the 13-year-olds that are listening to this, 6 words. That's all I got to say. It's a little inside joke, but
Yeah, all I'm saying is good things happen when you put the ball in play.
literally,
And
in any scenario.
In any scenario. And then look at last night. So we opened the series against Cleveland last night, and they commit an error because we hit the ball and just put it in play.
With runners on.
With runners on. Just put the ball in play and see what happens.
Crazy.
Strikeouts don't help you there. So we don't have our minor league updates anymore as a whole segment, but we do want to still at the end of Mariners updates just give you some things to think about, to hear. Samad Taylor is continuing to rake down in AAA. Yeah. So that guy is knocking.
He's also hitting like 6th in their lineup.
That guy's
crazy.
knocking on the door. I'm saying the Rainiers lineup is stacked, dude. If Samad Taylor is batting 6th, that's a good thing.
Blake Hunt is their backup catcher.
Yeah. And then we also see that Logan Evans, we just found out, is going to start in Arkansas. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was just a new bit of news.
That came this morning.
God, this strikeout thing is just...
I know, bro. But here's the deal: is it's 5 games. Like, it's 5 games. We're 3-2, despite the strikeout issue early. The approach last night looked so much better.
Yeah.
Right? We're running up counts. We chased McKenzie early, which we'll talk about this when we get there. I'm just saying we took as many walks last night as we did the first 4 games. All fired up
yeah,
to see
crazy.
Scott put in. So what I'm saying is it's
Yeah,
stupid early. We're
because
5 games in.
what is
We're-
the point
we're 3-2
of going
despite
from
having a
lefty to
strikeout
lefty?
issue, and they're going to figure it
When
out.
you
They
throw
already
4
are figuring
pitches.
it out.
Because
So
Sauce
I'm
was
not
getting-
I'm
did
not
you
concerned
see the balls that got put in
in.
play?
Yeah,
the fact that
against
we're 3-2,
righties,
our
pitching
got
looked great.
barreled.
Against
we're hitting,
righties.
You know,
He
he
struggled
struggled
the
the game
game
before
before,
too.
too.
But we've
His
said
last
this all
appearance before
along.
that, he
The
gave up a
strength of
run.
our team is our pitching.
I'm
I'm
question.
fine with
Yes.
him. Like we got
And that was
lucky
on display.
that Sauce
Yeah.
didn't get dapped up
So,
more.
Just
You
need a
and
little
you
bit
put in
more.
Gabe
You wanna
right
get
there
into
to
some
shut him
injury
down, right?
updates
They
here?
call him the mini unit. Have you heard
Yeah,
this, by the
so
way?
real quick,
Yeah.
Brian
They
Wu,
call
his
him the mini
MRI
unit.
was called
The
clean.
mini Randy Johnson.
You know,
His stuff
15-day
is
minimum. He was
gro-
placed in the
gross, by the
10-day.
way.
Gabe looks
He'll
phenomenal.
probably return.
His
He looked bad
sometime
in
next
spring.
week.
That was the thing that
I was a little
two-seam
bummed that they
run
didn't do
last
like the
night
injured
was
players when they
yucky.
did the
that-
pink
that
carpet
strikeout on
walkout.
Quan
was something.
was
on opening day.
disgusting.
Would have been cool for like
you do
Brian
not see
Wu
Quan
and
do that very
Brash and
often.
Santos.
Hey,
to,
Rob
like, at
Friedman,
least
why
run
didn't
out there.
why didn't you post that one?
Yeah,
no
if they're
kidding.
even there. Santos estimated
is
to
true.
come
Who
back
wasn't there?
mid-May,
He
and
was-
then
he
Garver
posted a picture
I only
of
put him
him
on here
streaming the
because
game
he
on his
did miss a
laptop.
couple of games
Oh, really?
due to
Yeah,
back
that is
spasms.
cool.
He was back last night.
Sam Haggerty's back doing
didn't
baseball
look-
activity.
didn't look
Will
brilliant,
be sent
to
on
be
a rehab
honest.
stint later this week.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch any
Hoping
of
he's
his
all
at-bats.
good
Oh, I
now.
watched one, but he struck out. He's like chasing
Matt
the
Brash,
slider.
which his
His
return
not
will be
what
May
he does.
1st.
He was
at the
chasing a bit
earliest.
last night, which is weird.
Maybe
So,
even
I
late
don't know.
April.
Again,
no, so
they
still
just said
early
he's
to make-
he's throwing
any-
sliders in his
and that's
bullpens
to
now. It's
Scott's
just-
credit.
He's
Like,
still not
he's
throwing
right.
100%.
Like, it's way
but
too
it sounds
early
like May
to do
1st
that.
is
So,
probably the
let's get
the
into
shooting
our
date.
Mariner game
which honestly our
logs
bullpen
of
just
the-
needs to
of
hold
the
on
week
till
that we have to
and we'll
discuss
talk
here.
about
Obviously,
it to
opening
this
day,
point.
it already
We did
has
take
for
the
the most
L,
part,
but we
bullpen
did
has not been a
see
problem
some
yet.
stuff. Hopefully it remains that way.
The biggest
And we're
takeaway
just
was
piecing it
Mechaniker's
together. But I'm
two-run
telling you, when
homer.
we get to
The place
our
went nuts.
four-headed beast,
of course.
absolutely
of
nuts.
Stanek, Brash, Santos, and
I don't
Munoz.
remember seeing
You
a
can
lot of
honestly almost call
Oppo
it 5
homers
with
from
Spire.
Mitch.
Well, they said this
Spire's
is the
gone-
first home
dude,
run.
do not
opposite-
say that. You
opposite
were
field
texting
that
me
he's
last
had
night, all fired up
since
that
he was
Scott
Mariner
put in
last.
Gabe into
He
that
didn't
game,
have
into
one.
that
Yeah,
San Fran.
because
Which makes
I mean,
no
also
sense.
didn't
What
play a lot of
was-
games. what is the
That,
point
but also right field
of
in
going from
San
lefty
Fran
to
is a
lefty?
disaster, so who knows?
That is true.
Because
When you throw
Sauce-
4 pitches,
but yeah,
Because
so
Sauce
we saw
was
him
getting-
hit a
did you
two-run
see
home
the
run.
balls that got
We saw
put in play?
Demo
Yeah,
come off
against
the bench,
righties,
which got
two-run
buried.
homer
You
off
know how hard
against
that is to
righties.
come in
He
cold
struggled
to
the
a
game before, too,
and
then
then
his
his
last
bomb,
appearance
like,
before that, he
was-
gave up a
was
run.
cool.
And he hit it to right center.
I'm fine with him.
Like,
Like,
that was
we
a
got lucky
shot.
that Sauce
Right, they
didn't
both
get
went
dapped
out
up
though,
more,
which was cool. And you put in
honestly,
Gabe
you
right
said
there to shut him
Castillo
down,
looked
right? They
solid
called him
in
the
here.
mini unit. Have you heard this,
He
by the
really
way?
didn't.
Yeah, I said in the first
They
inning.
So
called
his
him the mini
command
unit.
was all over the place, even in the
The
first
mini
inning.
Randy Johnson.
Like
His
his
stuff
first
is, like,
pitch was a ball that
gross,
wasn't
by the
even
way.
great. Gabe looks phenomenal. So
Yeah.
he
He
looks a
looked
little off
bad in
to start the
spring.
year.
That was the
Again,
thing
like,
that-
his
Jerry's out.
two-seam
Everybody
run
calm down.
Last
He's
night
not our
was
ace. There's an
yucky.
argument to be said that
That
might be
strike
true.
on
That might be
Quan
true.
was
I
something.
think Kirby honestly is the ace
disgusting.
of this.
Why did-
of this
you do
squad.
not see Quan
And
do
honestly,
that very
this might
often.
be why
Hey, Rob
Castillo
Friedman, why didn't you
was
post
surprised
that
he
one?
got the
Yeah, no
opening
kidding.
day.
Start.
Santos estimated to
Right,
come
like,
back
he might be-
mid-May,
he
and
might-
then
he might have
Garver.
been surprised by that
I only put him
because-
on here because
I mean,
he did
Kirby,
miss a couple of games
I
due to
think
back
you could
spasms.
make
He was
a
back
legitimate
last night.
argument is the ace of this squad. Didn't look
Yeah,
look
he is.
brilliant.
There's
to be
definitely.
honest.
Yeah, I didn't get to
Signs
watch any of
that
his
point
at bat.
that
Oh, I
way.
watched
And honestly,
one
if
and he
the
struck
year
out. He's
goes
like
the way that
chased
we
a
think it
slider,
does,
which is so not what
Kirby
he
yeah,
does.
he was
Probably
chasing
is
a
our
bit
opening
last
day
night,
starter
which is
next year,
weird.
and then for the
So
foreseeable
I don't know.
future.
I
Again,
probably agree with that, yeah.
it's
So,
still early.
to
Castillo
make any-
was rough,
and that's to
he did
Scott's
give up
credit.
a
Like,
couple
he's
of
right.
runs.
Like, it's way too early
Our defense though
to do that.
Our
So,
defense was
Let's get
garbage.
into our Mariner game logs of
So
the
Urias
week
cannot
that we have
throw.
to discuss here. Obviously,
He cannot
opening
throw.
day, we did
Ty
take
has
the
bailed
L,
him
but
out.
we did see
Some cool stuff.
Gosh, he threw a ball to JP.
Yeah,
so like
the
less
biggest
than 90
takeaway was
feet
Mechaniker's
to
two-run
JP
homer.
for a play at second.
place
and
went
JP had
nuts.
to bail him out
Yeah.
by
Oh, I didn't
absolutely
see that.
taking him out
Of course.
there too.
So
So
probably the yips.
I
I don't
Uri-
remember
Urias
seeing a lot
has
of
the yips.
Oppo
Something is
homers
going
from
on.
Mitch.
A professional.
Well, they said
baseball
this
player
is
should be able
the
to throw the
first
ball
home
90 feet.
run
I'm talking about high
opposite-
school guys. I'm like, you're a high
opposite
school
field that
varsity
he's
player.
had
You should be able to throw the
since
ball
he was a
90 feet
Mariner
without
last.
question.
He didn't have one
Easily.
in San Fran.
Easily.
Which makes
I mean, he also
sense
didn't play a lot of
because,
games.
So why is a
That, but also
professional
right
baseball
field
player
in
that starts
San
in
Fran is a
at third
disaster,
base?
so who knows?
That
Can't
is
throw the
true.
ball 90 feet.
He's
but
throwing
yeah, so we
everything
saw
off the
him
bat.
hit a two-run home run.
We
Which
saw
if you're gonna
Demo
miss,
come off the
I also
bench,
tell our
which
high school guys this. If
two-run
you're gonna
homer
do-
off
you
the
know how hard
bench.
that
Give
is
your
to
guy a
come
chance.
in
Because at least it
cold
gives us
to
a
a
chance.
game
If you
and then hit a
stay
bomb,
on,
like that
there's
was
no
cool.
And he hit it to right center.
You know that
Like,
is
that was a
yeah,
shot.
Urias
had that
right. They both went
blunder of a
Oppo,
play.
which was cool.
So if you don't know,
honestly, you said Castillo
There was a
looked
runner on
solid in
second
here.
with 2 outs.
He really
And
didn't.
I said in the first
ground
inning.
balls
So his
Urias.
command was all over the place.
The
Even
guy
in the first
that
inning.
was on second,
Like, his
literally
first pitch was a
stood
ball
right
that
next to
wasn't even
Urias,
competitive.
and then he
So
double pumped.
he looks a little
shuffled,
off to
and then
start
tried
the
to
year
throw him out at
again.
first, and
Like
then
Jerry's
Trevor
out,
Story
everybody
beat it out
calm down.
first.
Like he's not our ace. There's an argument
Other
to be
one-
said that
Yeah,
that
two
might
ways
be
to
true.
get
That might
guys
be
out
true.
there.
I think
and
Kirby
miss-
honestly is
The
the ace
other-
of this
there's-
squad.
there's two
And
more.
honestly, this might be why Castillo
Rojas was at
was
third this
surprised
time.
he got the opening day
And
start.
he-
This was weird, right? Like
It was
might,
weird.
He,
It was
might
weird
he
as
might
fuck.
have
He
been
made a
surprised by
great
that
glove.
because
He gloved it down the
Kirby,
line.
I think
then he threw
you
home
could make
on a
legitimate
non-force out
argument is
play.
the ace of this squad.
and it hit the guy in the helmet.
Yeah,
He-
that was not his
There's
fault.
definitely
He honestly made a great play.
signs that point
that ball
that way,
goes
too.
through.
They
And honestly,
have him
if
by
the
a
year
mile.
goes the
Cal's
way that
already
we
ready
think
to
it
go.
does,
Like,
that was
just a
Kirby
weird play.
probably
It was
is
a
our
weird play.
opening day starter next
Then
year.
the-
and then
this
for the
is
foreseeable
like
future.
the
I
one
probably
that
agree
made
with
me the
that,
most
yeah.
mad.
So, Castillo was
Sedon
rough.
Rafael hits
He
a-
did give up a
hits
couple
a
of runs.
liner down the line.
Our
Down
defense,
left field
though.
line. Our
Stand-up-
defense was garbage.
First
Stand up
game
double,
was
no problem.
So Urias
but
cannot
Dom
throw.
Canzone takes his
He
sweet
cannot
old
throw.
time.
There was a
Ty
60
has
mile
bailed
an
him
hour
out. Fastball.
Um,
to JP.
And
Gosh,
he
he
like
threw a ball to
slowly
JP,
winds
so,
up
like,
to
less
throw it
the 90
that
feet
you know
to
that
JP for
slowly.
a play
Slowly.
at second, and JP had to bail him out by.
Oh, I didn't
JP does his
see
best
that.
to cut it
Him out
off
there
and get a
too.
good relay, but
So
it's just
Probably the
time. So
yips.
then
Dude,
Rafael
Urias has the yips.
third
Something
with a
is going
triple
on.
down the
A
left field
professional
line.
baseball player
Cannot
should be able to
happen.
throw
I
the
don't know
ball
if I've
90
ever
feet. I tell my
seen a
high school
triple
guys, I'm
hit
like,
down
you're a
the
high school
left field
varsity
line.
player. You should be able to
It's
throw the ball
happened
90
before,
feet
but
without
not like
coaching. Easily.
but with
Easily.
people like
That should
Billy
be routine.
Hamilton.
So
Right.
why is a
Absolutely,
professional
like Ellie
baseball
De La
player that
Cruz,
starts at
not
third
Cedon
base
Rafael, and he
can't
is
throw the ball
fast.
90 feet?
Don't get me
I mean,
wrong.
he's throwing everything into
but
the
there is
ground.
no reason that
Everything.
should have been a triple.
Which,
If
if you're
anybody
going to
saw
miss,
the clip,
I also tell our high
Dom
school
literally
guys this,
just
if you're gonna
jogged the
miss,
ball.
miss low.
This was
Like,
like
give your guy a
Jesse
chance.
Winker.
Because
type
at least it
defense.
gives
It
us a
was.
chance.
If
And
you-
then
if you
ironically,
say
Jesse
that,
Winker
like,
with
there's
the Nationals
no, like,
actually
okay.
is playing really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't help us.
So
Of
yeah,
course.
Urias had that.
He's in
blunder of
the
a
Nationals.
play.
He's on the
So
Nationals,
if you don't know,
No, I mean,
there was a runner
did you
on
put
second
this
with
in here
2
somewhere? I
outs.
thought I saw this somewhere in the
and
notes.
ground balls hit to
Yeah,
Urias.
the guys that the Mariners all
The
got
guy
rid of,
that was on second
they're all
literally
crushing.
stood right next to
So
Urias.
Teoscar
and
leads
then
the
he
league in homers.
Double pumped,
Gino
shuffled,
has, like,
and then
7
tried to throw
RBIs
him out at
already.
first. And then
Gino's
Trevor
hitting
Story beat it
300.
out at
Kelnick's
first.
hitting 545.
Other
batting
one.
seven.
He had 2 ways to get
yesterday.
guys out there.
He
and
went
missed
over.
both.
He went like other.
1 for 4.
Did he?
Oh, there's two more.
He went 1 for 4. He's now
he's
hitting
got
545.
Rojas was
Cabby's
at third this time.
RBIs.
Cabby's hitting
And-
385
was
and
weird,
13
though.
at bats.
It was weird.
This
It was
not
weird.
his fault. He made
Why
a
does
great
this happen,
glove.
dude?
Like,
He
it's
gloved
so-
it down the
three
line.
ribbies and-
Then he threw
All
home
right, moving
on
on
a
to more
non-force out
positive news.
play.
Gear Lord.
And hit the guy in the
in
helmet.
game 2.
That was not his
Kirby
fault.
dealt. He honestly made a great
Kirby
play.
dealt.
That's pretty much-
that ball goes.
that's it.
That was pretty
They
much
have
a
him by
game.
a
So he
mile.
went
Cal
6
was already
in
ready to go.
6.2
Like,
innings.
that was just
he
a
had
weird
no earned
play.
runs.
It was a weird play.
Listen to this. Dude.
Then this
So
is
he had
like
49
the
total
one that
swings
made me
against
the
him.
most mad.
Yep. He had 17.
Sadon Rafael
whiffs,
hits a
18 foul offs.
liner
12
down the
got put
line,
in
down
double
left
fouls,
field line.
and
Stand-up
he
double.
gave up 2 singles.
Stand up double, no
Absolute
problem.
masterclass.
But Dom Canzone
Ace
takes his
type
sweet old
stuff.
time.
There was a 60-mile-an-hour. It was a great outing by
And
him.
he like slowly
Spire
winds
came
up
in,
to throw
Stanek
it that
came in. Stanek,
you
this
know,
first
that
outing did not look
slowly.
great.
Didn't look great.
He could not locate his fastball.
JP does his best to cut
he
it
got
off and
through
get a
it,
good
though.
relay, but
He
it
got
just
through
wasn't
it
in time. So
somehow,
then
some way.
Rafael slides
And then
into
Munoz
third
came in
with a
before
triple
outside,
down the
which
left field
normally
line.
you don't
Cannot
see this
happen.
early
I don't know
in
if
the
I've
season. I
ever
was
seen a
shocked.
triple hit down the
Honestly,
left
to see
field.
I like it though.
Dude,
It's happened
this
before,
is
but
what
not
we were
like.
asking for from Scott. Like take
But with
every
people like
game
Billy
like this,
Hamilton,
very
like
seriously.
absolutely
You have
like
a-
Ellie De La Cruz,
These
not
games add up.
Sadon Rafael.
When
And
you
he
lose
is
dumb
fast.
games that you shouldn't
Don't
lose,
get me
they
wrong.
add up. And
But
we
there is
found
no
that out the
reason
hard
that
way
should have been a
last year.
triple.
He had
If
a
anybody
great-
saw the
and
clip,
only run we got that.
Dom
game.
literally
The
just
only
jogged the
offense, I wouldn't
ball.
even call it
This
just
was
a
like
run,
Jesse
just
Winker
offense.
type defense.
Sure was.
Was.
And then
JP
ironically,
hitting
Jesse
a bomb
Winker
to
with the
right,
Nationals
and he
actually
nuked it.
is
I mean,
playing
it was
really
a
well.
no-doubter.
Yeah.
Of course.
Shot.
He thought
Of
it was
course.
foul. He actually said in the post
He's in
that he thought it
the
was foul.
Nationals. He's on the Nationals. Who cares?
That
No,
is
I
stayed
mean,
fair and
where-
it did,
did
so.
you put this in here
Anyway,
somewhere? I thought I saw
nothing
this
win.
somewhere in the
First
notes.
win of the season.
So back.
Yeah, the guys that the
bad.
Mariners all
Dude,
got
then
rid of,
game 3, honestly, probably one
they're
of the
all
most
crushing.
exciting baseball
Yeah.
games I've
So
seen.
Teoscar leads the league in homers.
The season just
Gino
started.
has
But,
like 7
uh,
RBIs already.
Gino
we
is hitting
won
300.
4-3,
Kelnick's
but it
hitting
was weird
545.
He was batting 700.
Yeah, we
yesterday.
scored in the bottom of the
He
first.
went over-
He went like
hooray.
1 for 4.
Did he?
Then
Again, we look good.
You went 1
Like,
for
we
4.
look
and he's
good.
down
We
to
look good.
545.
Nothing about
Cabby's
day too. Julio had the double down the
RBIs.
Cabby's
line,
hitting
right, like,
385 and
we-
13
like,
at
it
bat.
looks-
First and third with 1 out, and then
Why does this happen?
However, grounds it into
Like,
play.
it's so
And 3
Ty
ribbies
France
and
from-
All right,
and
moving
one
on to
fight.
more positive
Here's a
news.
runner
Gear
on
Lord.
first with
In game 2,
but Haniger,
Kirby
yeah,
dealt.
this game 3,
Kirby
he
dealt.
got
That's
an
pretty
RBI
much-
single.
that's
to
it.
score
That was pretty
Ty
much the
France,
game.
by
So
the
he
way.
went
And Ty
6
France
in
hit
6.2
Ty France
innings.
hit- He had no
Um,
earned runs.
Logan goes 7
Listen to
innings with
this,
1
dude.
run ball.
So he had 49 total
dude,
swings against
did
him.
you see his RPMs?
He had
of his
17
400.
whiffs,
400
18
RPMs.
foul
It
offs,
looks
on a splitter.
12
it
got put
almost
in
looked like
play
a
for
knuckleball,
outs, and
it
only
didn't
gave up
rotate
2 singles,
like
at all. Absolute
And,
master
pitching
class.
ninja, shout out Rob Friedman,
Ace
our buddy.
type stuff,
Dude,
right there.
insane.
It was a great
Insane.
outing
Showed
by
the
him.
video that, like,
Spire
there's
came
zero-
in.
like, there's
Stanek
no
came in.
revolutions on that
Stanek
ball.
this first outing.
You know
did
how
not
hard
look
that is to
great.
It didn't look great.
He
Like,
could
that's
not
insane.
locate his fastball.
You know how hard that is to see.
He got through it though. He got through it
His
somehow.
splitter
some
looks
way.
even better than it
And then
did last
Munoz
year.
came in
So
with a 4-out save.
he dealt-
which
he looked
normally
great.
you don't see
Again,
this.
he
early in
also
the
threw the
season.
cutter.
I was shocked. Yeah, honestly. To
Which
see
I
that.
like it,
cutter a
though.
lot.
Dude, of
I not put this.
This
in
is
notes.
what we were
The cutter
asking
was
for
actually
from
the most
Scott. Like,
effective
take
pitch out of any
every
pitch
game
any
like this,
starter threw on
Very
the first
seriously.
starter.
You have
Because it
lost
matters.
the lead. These
Yeah, the
these
whole
games add up.
An
When you
opening
lose
day
dumb
weekend
games that you
is a
shouldn't
new
lose, they
pitch, too.
add up.
Right. And we
But
found
he was
that out
throwing
the
it
hard
in
way
on the
last
hands
year.
on lefties.
He's
And the only run we
by
got that
someone.
game.
The only
us.
offense,
By
I wouldn't
us.
even call it just a
By
run.
us.
Just
But I'm
offense.
just saying, when you have a 98,
Was
97
JP
mile an
hitting a
hour
bomb
four
to
seam,
right,
and then
he
you drop
nuked
a
it. I
cutter
mean, it was a
92
no-doubter.
miles an
It
hour
was a
in on the
shot.
hands
He
of
thought it was
lefties,
foul.
like,
He
good
actually
luck.
said in the post game that he
Mhm.
thought it was foul. He's like,
Pulled the
praying
string
that-
with his
that it
splitter.
stayed
Yeah,
fair
dude,
and it
nasty.
did. So
Anyway,
Spire, that was
nothing
where
win.
he had a
First
great
win
of the
outing.
season.
So back.
So back.
Voth
Roth is
dude,
not
then game
correct.
3,
That's
honestly,
not how
probably
you
one of
say
the
it.
most exciting
Both.
baseball games
Both.
I've seen in a minute.
Both.
Obviously, with
I
the
learned
season
that from
just
the
starting.
broadcast,
But,
so there's that.
so we
Both
won 4-3.
honestly
but it
surprised
was
me. They
weird
put in both
how
in
we
the
got there.
ninth.
That was in a tie
Yeah,
game.
we
In a
scored in the
tie
bottom
game,
of the
I was
first.
like,
You know,
holy-
hooray.
They weren't going to throw Munoz, right?
Then-
Again,
Through
we
the
look good.
4-inning
Like,
outing
we
in
look
the
good.
game.
We
He
were
looked
up
good in the
1-0.
first inning of
He
opening
looked
day too.
re-
Julio
both
had the double
really
down
good.
the
Looked good.
line, right?
He
Like
struck out the side.
we-
I was
like,
like,
it looked-
first and third with
well,
one
he
out.
did. So he struck out the
then
side.
Garver grounds it
So
into
he struck out
Right.
2, walked 1, and
Dude,
it's a tie
curveball's
for answer
nasty.
23.
He's
He screwed
gross.
his inner.
There's a runner
He
on
surprised
first
me
with
with
We
one
find ways for
But
guys to spin it.
Haniger, this
Yeah.
game
It's
3,
insane.
he got an RBI single. The score
Thornton
Ty
then
France
comes
by
in
the way.
the
And Ty
10th,
France is
which
hitting.
that's a weird
Ty
choice
France
too,
is
but
hitting.
whatever.
We go into
Logan goes
extras
7
'cause we're
innings
tied
with 1
1-1,
run ball.
And
Dude,
up 2.
did
in
you
the
see
10th.
his
And
RPMs
honestly,
of his
400.
historically?
400
This is where
RPMs.
Mariners lose
It looked
games
on a
last year.
splitter.
It almost looked like a
2023,
knuckleball.
if this
it didn't
happens,
rotate
I'm like, oh, game over.
at all.
Game over.
And
Yep. I'm
pitching
off.
ninja,
It's
shout out
over.
Turn the
Rob
TV
Riemer,
off.
buddy. If we go down
Dude,
2 in extras, I'm like,
insane.
there's no way. Insane.
There's no
Showed
way.
the video,
And
that,
then
like,
this is where
there's
this is
zero.
what I was
like,
referring
there's
to
no
before.
revolutions on that ball.
This is where our BABIP
You know how hard
block
that is to hit?
came.
Like that's insane because
You know how hard that is to
we
see.
go up
Right.
and Rayleigh gets
His
jammed.
splitter looks even better than it did last
He
year.
gets jammed. He looked great, and
Again,
sends
he
it
He also
down
threw the
left field.
cutter.
The whole bat
Yeah.
fell off his hand.
Which I did not
cutter
put
a
the
lot.
It was crazy.
I did not
Right.
put this in the notes.
I
The
can't
cutter
believe
was
he hit that
actually the
far.
most
Right,
effective
he hit,
pitch
but
of
he
any
just hit a
pitch
blooper
any
to left
starter
field,
threw on
and Ty
their first
France
start.
was
Across
on base,
the
which
league.
sucked.
Yeah,
We're
the
like,
whole
oh
league.
no, an opening day weekend.
It's a
Ty
new
scores.
pitch too.
So we get one.
But he was throwing it in
back.
on the
We're
hands
still
on
down
lefties.
one at
He's
this
gonna get
point.
paid by
But
someone.
we have no
We're
outs.
down
By
3-2 with
By
no
us.
outs and a
Hopefully,
guy on
yes.
first.
But I'm just saying, when you
Rojas
have a
comes
98, 97 mile an
he
hour
hits a line
four-seam,
drive
and
into
then you
right
drop
center,
a
which
cutter
has been
92
dude. He's
miles an
been
hour
hitting
on the hands of lefties.
And I'll talk
good
about
luck.
him later because
Good luck. You know
Pulled the
why.
string with a splitter.
Josh
Yeah, dude,
Rojas put the
nasty.
single in play.
Spire, that
Go-
was where
we
he
go
had a
first
great
and third,
outing,
which is great. Cleveland plays
Voth
their
is not
gosh,
correct.
Cleveland.
That's not how you say it.
The
It's
Red
Voth.
Sox,
Boston.
There it is.
Voth.
Boston.
I
They play
learned
their
that from the
infield in,
broadcast,
as
so
you would
there's
expect.
that.
And then
So
again,
Voth
good things happen when you
honestly surprised me. They put in
the ball
Voth
in
in the
play.
ninth.
The ball in
That
play.
was in
So
a tie
JP
game.
does
In a
not
tie
hit a
game,
good
and I was
ball.
like,
does
holy,
not hit
they
well,
weren't going to
but
throw Munoz, right? Because he
puts
threw
it
the
in
four
play,
inning outing the
hits it
game
to the
before.
second
Yeah.
baseman. He
He
double
looked
clutches
both
just a
looked
little
really
bit,
good.
and
Both
that's
looked good.
enough time.
He struck
for
out the
Rayleigh
side.
I was
to
like,
come home.
well, he
and
did. So he
slide.
struck out the
Dude, he's
side
way
with a walk.
faster than I
So he
thought.
struck out two, walked
Like
one,
I've
and
heard that
curveball's
he has
nasty.
sneaky speed.
He's gross.
But then to see a guy that
He
big
surprised
move
me.
that
We
quick
find
is
ways
kinda crazy.
for guys to spin it. Like
Yeah,
I'm tired it's of hearing insane. this. By the way, Luke Rayleigh
Thornton
is
then comes in
fast
the
for
10th,
someone
which that's a
his
weird
size.
choice too.
No, he's
but
just
whatever.
fast.
We
in
go
general.
into extras
Like
because
he's
we're
just a
tied
big
1-1,
dude who can move.
and
Like,
Thornton gives up two.
regardless
in
of
the
how
10th. And honestly,
he's 6'4", 240.
This
Like,
is where
regardless
Mariners
of
lose
he's
games
fast
last
for
year.
his size, he's
all
just
of
fast in
2023,
general.
He's like a
if this
tight end.
happens,
Like,
I'm
he's
like,
giant over.
game over.
Yeah, like
Game over.
literally. Yep,
I'm off.
It's
I'm
so over.
turning the TV off.
If we go
Um,
down two
even
in
look-
extras, I'm like, there's no way.
If anyone
no
that
way.
saw that
And
clip,
then
like,
this
he
is
took
where
like five,
this is what I
his
was
last like
referring
5
to
strides
before.
covered like
This is where our
half
BABIP luck
the base path.
came.
Yeah, as
back.
well.
Because
he covered.
we go
45
up
feet.
and Rayleigh
So he ties
gets
it.
jammed.
I love
Everyone's
Luke Rayleigh.
pumped. He
We're
gets
feeling
jammed.
great. And then
And
Julio
sends it
comes
down
up.
the left field
The
line.
whole bat fell
and
off his
we had
hand.
Rojas
It blew
on
up.
It was
third, 'cause
crazy.
Rojas
Right.
took
Yeah,
that.
I can't believe he hit it that
play.
far.
Right,
Which
he
was
had,
good
but
heads
he
up,
just hit a
base running
blooper
by
to
him.
left field, and Ty
And
France was on base, which
Julio
sucked. We're
gets
like,
his
oh
first
no,
walk off.
Yeah.
it was epic.
About time.
And
Hits
Ty
a line
scores.
drive into
So
right
we get
field.
one.
Although what's really
back.
funny,
We're still
no one
down
really
one
talked
at this
about this,
point,
but
they
they
we
showed
have
the
no
camera
outs.
down
They had to
3-2
play
with
the
no
They had a
outs and a
play
guy
the
on
play.
first
because
Rojas
Rojas
comes
was
up,
tagging just in
and
case
he
it
hits a
stayed
line
up. He
drive
couldn't
into
tell
right center,
if
which
the
has been
ball's
his
gonna stay
dude. He's
up or
been
not,
hitting.
so he waited to tag.
And I'll talk
if he
about him
needed
later
to.
because
And then what's funny
You
is
know
the
why.
right fielder like
Josh
collects it,
Rojas puts
and
a
then
single in
realizes
play.
like, oh,
Go-
dude,
we
like,
go
I have
first
a
and
play at
third.
this.
And then he
which is
makes a
great.
horrible
And then he
throw.
makes a
Cleveland
horrible throw.
plays their
Rojas,
or,
scores
Cleveland.
standing, no big deal.
The
but
Red
it was kinda
Sox,
funny
Boston.
that we didn't
There
really
it is.
talk about it as
Boston.
much. They play their infield
We won.
in, as
Who
you would
cares?
expect. And then
we go
again,
into
good things
Sunday,
happen when
and
you are
Put the ball in
are-
play.
The ball in
Decides
play.
just not
So
to show.
That
JP
was-
does
that
not
was
hit a
an
good
off
ball.
day.
Like does
Horrific
not hit
day.
well. But Bryce Miller's
Puts it in
stuff looked
play,
good. His new
hits it to
splitter
the
looked
second
good.
baseman. He double clutches
However,
just a little bit, and that's enough
he got
time
dapped up a
for
bit.
Rayleigh
His fastball
to
got
come
touched.
home
Yeah,
and
he got
slide.
He gave up
Dude,
a
he's
tank
way
to Tyler
faster than I
O'Neill,
thought.
and then he gave up a
Like
3-run
I've
shot
heard that he
to
has sneaky speed,
Valdez.
but then to see a guy that big
Yeah,
move
that
that
Valdez
quick is
at
kinda
all.
crazy. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he-
I'm
his
tired
son-
of hearing
his
this.
splitter
By the
looked
way,
good, but that 3-run
Luke
home run
Rayleigh
by
is
Valdez was
fast
bullcrap,
for
too.
someone
Because the
his
pitch
size. No, he's just
before-
fast in general.
Yeah.
Like he's just a big dude who can move. But you also like
You can't leave
regardless
it
of
up to the
how
umpires, and
I
get
think
that,
he's
but still,
6'4",
like,
240.
anyways, Bryce
Like
Miller got
regardless
robbed,
of
and then
he's it was a fast for 3-1 his size. He's just fastball fast top in of the general.
Oh, he's like a
It's
tight
just
end.
like,
Like he's ginormous.
He's
He got
yeah,
tagged.
like he got tanked literally up a it,
a
little bit, and then the offense just didn't show up.
beast.
I don't even want to talk anything he about didn't the look offense because that's how bad it was.
It was
If
it
anyone
was our
that saw
only
that
game where
clip,
our
like he
pitching
took like
wasn't
five, his last like
Every other
5
game,
strides
our
covered
pitching
like
was great.
half.
Moving
the
on
base path.
Yeah, it was wild. We lost 5.
Yeah, he covered 45 feet. Moving on
So
to
he ties it. First game against
Everyone's
Cleveland.
pumped.
Now that I can
We're
actually
feeling
say
great.
this, because I keep trying
And
to
then
say that
Julio
it's the
comes up.
Cleveland Guardians, but it's not.
And
Emerson
we have
Hancock
Rojas on
did
third
what a
because Rojas
5-starter
did
should
that.
do.
Right,
on
people
that
that are
play,
tripping out bad
which
about
was good
Hancock,
heads up, base
you're
running
out of your
by
minds,
him.
and also Hancock guys that are
And
tripping out to the
Julio
positive are
gets
also
his
out of your
first
minds.
walk-off.
He's a
It was
5.
epic.
It's about time.
Hits
And
a
he
line
pitched
drive
like
into
one
right
yesterday.
field.
Although what's
He
really
gave up
funny,
3 runs
no
through
one really
5.
talks
We take
about
that
this,
every day and
but
twice
they
on
showed the
Sunday.
camera.
They had to play at the plate.
They had a play.
This is what a 5-starter should do.
because
Five-starter
Rojas was tagging
five-starter
just
is
in
not,
case it
you know,
stayed up. He
the
couldn't
greatest.
tell
That's why they're
if
5-starter,
the ball
but
was going
they
to stay
do
up or
enough
not.
to
So
keep
he
you
waited
in
to
the
tag
game,
if he
which
needed
is what he
to.
did.
And
They-
then what's funny is the right fielder
like,
like
they will
collects
not
it and then realizes like,
win
oh,
you the
dude,
game
like,
per
I have
se,
to play at this.
but you
And
don't
then
want
he
them
makes a
to
horrible.
lose
Then he
you
makes a
the
horrible
game.
throw. Rojas, scores
That's
standing,
exactly
no
what he
big
did.
deal. But it was kind of
got the
funny
win.
that we didn't really talk about it.
Went
as
5
much.
and a third and gave up 3. That won. is exactly what you can
And
ever
then we
ask
go
for
into
out of a
Sunday
5-starter.
and our
Like,
our
oh
offense
boy.
decides
But then
just
on the
not to show up.
downside of
that
that,
was
also
like an
people
off day.
were like,
Horrific
dude, Emerson
day.
did so good. Well,
Bryce
first of all, he
Miller's
got hit
stuff
hard
looked
a
good.
bunch,
His new splitter
but
looked
he was
good.
hitting it right at guys. So
However,
again, BABIP,
he
taketh
got
and
dapped
BABIP
up a bit.
His fastball
Right?
got
Like,
touched.
yeah. You know
he
what?
got
Like
He gave up a
it
tank
finally
to Tyler
turned in our
O'Neill,
favor.
and then he gave up a
Hancock
3-run
did give
shot
up some
to
loud contact,
Valdez.
but like
to Valdez.
our guys just happened
Yeah,
to be in the right
Valdez
spot,
at all people.
which was great.
Yeah,
Julio had a
his
crazy
the
day.
splitter looked
had-
good.
But that
Two
3-run
great
home run
catches
by
and
Valdez
almost
had
made
a
a third,
third,
too.
which the third
Because
was
the
a
pitch
bummer.
before-
It ended up being a home run.
Yeah.
That was Hancock's last batter.
But you also
Jumped
like
too early.
You can't
Jumped
leave it
too
up to
early.
the
It
umpires.
literally
and I
hit
get
his
that,
glove,
but still.
though.
And here's
Like,
what
anyways, I don't
Bryce
wanna
Miller
admit
got
this,
robbed,
but
and then
it was a
if
3-1
doesn't
fastball.
hit his
at
glove,
the
I think
zone.
it stays in
mean,
the
it's just
yard.
like, but-
he got tanked.
Like
He
it
got tanked
looked
up
like
a
it
little
was
bit,
on the
and then the
downward
offense just
trajectory
didn't
where it
show
would've
up.
hit
Probably
the
didn't
wall
want to
and
talk
it was
anything
dead.
about
Yeah.
the offense because that's how
But
bad it was.
I did. It was
Call.
it was our only game
Right
where
before we
pitching
got to
wasn't
our
lights out.
practice,
Every
for our
other
high school
game,
team
our
yesterday, I go,
was
dude,
great.
I'm telling you,
Moving
'Cause
on
you were
to
pissed that Canzone.
we
was
lost
in the starting
5-1
lineup yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Moving
yeah,
on
he hasn't
to
really earned
yesterday.
it. But
First
like,
game against
way too early
Cleveland.
to
Now
give
that
up
I
on
can
his
actually
bat
say
after the
this,
spring he
because
had,
I keep
I
trying to
looked
say
at
that
you
it's
and
the
I said, dude,
Cleveland Guardians,
Canzone's
but
going
it's
yard
not.
tonight.
Emerson
Now, he's gonna go
Hancock
2 for 4.
did
Got that
what a
part wrong.
5-starter
But I
should
did
do.
say he
People
was
that are
going yard
tripping out
tonight.
bad about
And sure
Hancock,
enough, his first
you're out of your
at-bat
minds, and also
hit
Hancock
it guys that are tripping out
absolute
to the
nuke
positive are also
to
out of your
left
minds.
center. Oppo.
He's a 5.
Right?
Like Canzone hit a 3-run
And he
bomb.
pitched like one yesterday.
It had the sound
He
of
gave
a
up
home
3 runs
run,
through 5.
had
We
the
take that every
contact,
day and
everybody
twice
knew
on
it right
Sunday.
off
Yeah.
the bat.
Like,
Like it was awesome.
This is what a 5-starter should
Why are you
do.
laughing? Like,
5-starter.
it was
Five-starter.
good.
He's not,
You,
you know,
what's funny
the
is I
greatest.
text you.
That's
I'm
why
like,
they're
bro, I told
5-starter,
you.
but they
And
do
you're like
enough to keep you
simultaneously
in the
mad because I
game,
was right,
which is
but then
what he
also like happy
They-
because he hit a 3-run home
Like,
run.
I also can't they say will what I not said in the text.
also
win
that.
you the game per se.
But I did call
But you
it.
don't want them to
Yahtzee, let's
lose
go.
you the game.
Dude, Ty France.
That's
looking
exactly what he
great,
did.
Hitting the ball
He
well,
got the win.
putting the ball in play, looking more
Went
like
5 1/3 and
himself,
gave up
which
3.
is awesome.
That
He
is
also has been
exactly
hit
what
by
you
pitches,
can
so, you know,
ever
that helps
ask
to keep our
for
guys healthy.
out of a 5-starter. Knock on wood.
Yep.
We
Like,
did have 2
but
base
then
running
on the
mistakes last night.
downside of
Manny
that,
Acta
also
sent
people
Ty,
were
so
like,
hey,
dude,
you know what?
Emerson
I know
did
Ty
so
France
good. Well,
looks
first of all, he
better,
got hit
he's in
hard
shape.
a bunch.
He's
But
still
he
slow.
was hitting
Slightly
right at
faster.
guys.
He's
So
still
again,
slow. BABIP. So
Take
Manny
it
Acta,
and
there's a
BABIP
fly ball to
giveth,
center field.
right?
Like,
did
With
you know
Julio
what?
on
Like,
deck.
Julio
finally
on deck
turned in
did
our
not need
favor.
to send him. Hancock did give up some loud contact,
need to
but
send him.
like
And he sent
Our
and
him.
he
guys
sent
just
him,
happened
and
to
he
be
got
in the
thrown
right
out
spot
by
a mile,
which was
and
great.
then
Julio had a
Julio-
crazy
not
day.
Julio
there
had
defensively.
Manny
two
Acta
great
gives him the
catches
stop
and
sign.
Almost
almost
had
made a
perfect.
third, which the third was
And
a bummer.
no
It ended up
outs
being a home run.
to
That was
load the
that was
bases
Hancock's last
and
batter.
sends Julio
He just jumped way
to
too
a
early.
He
shallow
jumped too early. It literally hit his
grounder,
glove, though,
basically.
and
Here's what
to
I
left field.
I don't want to
and
admit
Quan
this, but
throws him out easily.
if it
And I'm
doesn't
like,
hit
what
his
are we
glove, I
doing?
think
With
it
no
stays in
outs.
the
Just
yard. Yeah, right. They would have been like it
Bases
looked
loaded
like
with
it
no
was
outs,
on
and
the
it changed
downward
the total
trajectory where
vibe
it
of
would
the
have
game.
Carver
hit
was
us
up.
anyway.
This
Carver was
game,
going to come
yeah.
up with the bases.
Um,
loaded.
but
You know
I
he's gonna get a
did
strike.
call
Why? Because he can't
right before
walk
we
him.
got to
Right.
our practice.
So,
Anyway,
for our
so
high
we
school
saw some
team
base running
yesterday, I go,
errors
dude,
again.
I'm telling you,
Because
for us,
you
we
have
have
one
pissed that
defensive
Canzone
error
was in
on
the
the
starting
season
lineup
so far.
yesterday.
And I'm like, yeah, he hasn't really earned it.
It was the
but,
one that
like,
Rojas
it's
hit him
way
in the
too
head.
early to
Right.
give up on
So
his bat
it is what
after
it
the
is.
spring he had.
Like,
I looked
it's
at
not
you
great,
and
but
I
this is
said,
early
dude,
in the season.
Canzone's going yard
It's
tonight.
nowhere near what we're
He's
going
going
to
to go
talk
2
about
for 4.
Houston.
I got that part
Just side
wrong.
note.
But I did say he
there's
was
that.
going yard tonight. And sure enough,
dude,
his
the hit
first
by
at
pitch
bat
last night
pissed
pissed
me
me
off.
off.
Absolute
And I was
nuke
back and forth with a ton
to
of
left
people
center.
on
Oppo.
Twitter.
For the people
right?
that follow
Like,
our Twitter
Canzone hit
page,
a
that was all
3-run
Trevor,
bomb.
by the way.
Oh,
It
yeah.
had the sound of a
I was
home
fired
run,
up.
had the
I was fired
contact.
up.
Everybody knew it right off the bat.
Munoz
Like, it was
came
awesome. In the 8th.
Why are you
which
laughing?
is the
Like,
first
that's
time we've
it
seen
was
this
good.
Where,
You-
what's funny is I text you. I'm like, bro, I
Scott's
told
gonna
you,
make his
and you're
bullpen
like
choices based
simultaneously
on
mad
where
because
we're
I was
at
right, but then
matchup,
also
who's
like
up,
happy
like
because he hit a 3-run.
And
I also
but he
can't
did
say
come
what
in
I
and gave
said
up
in the
a
text.
solo shot to
Also
Naylor
that.
that made it a 1-run game.
But I did call it.
Here we
Just
go. Yahtzee,
right
let's
down
go.
the middle.
Like, dude, Ty
just
France
hang an
looking
absolute
great,
hung a
hitting the
slider.
ball well,
Like,
putting the ball in
didn't-
play, looking
slider
more
did
like
not move at
himself,
all.
which is awesome. He also hasn't been hit by pitches.
But
so,
then we
you know,
did
that
see
helps to keep
Stanek
our
come
guys
in the
healthy.
ninth and
on wood.
absolutely.
We did have
like,
two base
look,
running
from
mistakes
game
last
one
night.
that
Manny
he was
Acta
in to
sent
game
Ty.
two
So
that he
hey,
was
you know what?
in,
I know Ty
his stuff
France
was
looks better and
absolutely
he's in
electric.
shape.
He's
He's still
slightly faster.
Dude,
He's
just-
still slow though.
He's like, hey,
So Manny
go hit
Acta,
this.
there's a fly ball
Right,
to center
98,
field,
top of the zone.
did
With
not-
Julio
just
on deck.
blew Julio on deck
Yeah.
did not need to
Absolutely.
send him.
Absolute stud.
So, anyways,
Did not
that
need
wraps
to
up
send
our
him.
Mariners
And
updates.
he
We got to
sent him.
keep
And he sent
rolling.
him.
And
And
I
I
knew
knew
this
this
was
was
going to
gonna
take
take
us
us
forever.
forever. Let's
And
get
then
into our division
Julio.
updates.
So not Manny Acta's fault. Manny Acta gives him the stop sign, rounding third, and no outs to load the bases, and sends Julio to a shallow grounder basically to left field, and Quan throws him out easily. And I'm like, what are we doing?
With
Like,
no outs.
Just two. Yeah, right. They would have been bases loaded with no outs, and it changed the total vibe of the inning.
Garver was up.
And Garver was going to come up with the bases loaded. Now
You know he's going to get a strike. Why? Because you can't walk him.
right. So, anyways, so we saw some base running errors. Again, for us, we have one defensive error on the season so far, and then we have a couple base running knocks.
And it was the one that Rojas hit him in the head.
Right. So it is what it is. Like, it's not great, but this is early in the season. It's nowhere near what we're going to talk about with Houston. Just side note. So there's that. Dude, the hit by pitch last night pissed me off. And I was back and forth with a ton of people on Twitter.
For the people that follow our Twitter page, that was all Trevor, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I was fired up. Munoz came in the 8th, which is the first time we've seen this where, Scott's going to make his bullpen choices based on where we're at in the lineup and who's up, matchups.
Which I like.
But he did come in, gave up a solo shot to Naylor and made it a 1-run game. So here
Just
we go.
right down the middle.
Right.
Like
Just
hang an absolute
Hung a slider in the
cookie.
middle of the plate.
Like slider did not move at all.
Right. But then we did see Stanek come in the 9th and absolutely, look, from game 1 that he was in to game 2 that he was in, his stuff was absolutely electric.
The screw you fastball.
Dude, he's like, hey, bro, hit this. Right? 98, top of the zone, just blew it by him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Absolute stud. So, anyways, that wraps up our Mariners updates. We got to keep rolling. I knew this was going to take us forever. Yeah. Let's get into our division updates.
All right.
All right, getting into our division updates, man, we had a lot of surprises that came up this week. All right, getting into our division updates, man, we had a lot of surprises. So first of all, Houston got swept by the Yankees.
No kidding.
But it wasn't necessarily because
so
the
first of
Yankees
all,
just,
Houston got
flat
swept
out
by the
beat them.
Yankees.
Now, granted,
They
it
also
wasn't
did look really
necessarily
good.
because the
Juan
Yankees
Soto
just
looks
flat
good.
out beat them. Now,
looks
granted,
They also did look really
but
good.
no, I'm saying
Soto
Houston
looks-
lost
Soto
because they had
he
some
looks so
little
good.
league errors, man.
I'm
But no,
talking
I'm saying
like
Houston lost
pitchers
because
throwing it over
they
the
had some
first
little
baseman's
league
head.
errors, man.
I'm talking
bro, they're trying to do
pitchers
just a
throwing it
normal
over the first
flip to
baseman's
head,
head, turn two,
and
bro, they're
Pena
trying to
just
do just a normal
completely missed
flip to
Altuve.
second to
Threw it
turn
into the
two,
outfield, and Pena just
flip.
completely
On a
missed
flip.
Altuve.
So I'm
Threw
just
it
saying,
into the
like, things
outfield.
that,
historically
on a
they just
flip.
routine is
So I'm just saying,
routine,
like, things
but
that,
they got
like,
swept.
historically, they
by
just,
the Yankees.
routine is routine.
And then, of
But they got
course,
swept
then Houston goes and plays their
by the
first game
Yankees.
against Toronto yesterday.
And then, of course,
then Houston goes and plays their
Blanco
first
throws a
game
no-hitter
against Toronto
against
yesterday.
Toronto. Thanks,
And-
Blue Jays. Well done.
And Blanco throws
They also
a
scored a
no-hitter
crap ton
against
of runs.
Toronto.
Blue Jays
Thanks,
do
Blue
not look
Jays.
good.
Well done.
No, I told you
They
that,
also
dude.
scored.
I didn't think they.
I'm not a believer
Blue
of the
Jays
Blue
do
Jays.
not
I'm
look
not.
good.
No, I told you that.
You also
dude.
see.
I didn't think they
I'm
did
not a
Who's their
believer of the
shortstop?
Blue Jays. I'm not.
Who's?
You also see. Gosh,
Bichette?
who's their
Yeah,
shortstop?
Bichette.
Bro, he already has
Who?
like 2 errors.
Blue Jays.
Just throwing balls
Bichette?
away. Yeah, Bichette.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Bro,
bro, he
his
already
thing
has
is
like
not
2 errors.
defense, I'll tell you that.
No, just throwing
He
balls
breaks,
away.
though.
He does hit,
Yeah,
and they're like,
I mean,
just
his
cool.
thing is not defense. I'll
We
tell you
did see
that.
the A's
He breaks,
also.
though.
He does hit, which
Get
is cool.
blasted by Cleveland.
We did
which
see the
is,
A's
you know,
also
to be expected.
get
Blasted
but
by Cleveland.
They did win their
which
first
is,
game.
to be expected.
They won their first game
But
in the last game
they
of the
did win
series
their
against
first
Cleveland.
game.
And they
Who
won
was
their
the
first
hero?
game in the last game of the
Abraham
series
Toro.
against
Mariners
Cleveland.
legend,
And
Abraham
who was the
Brewers
hero?
legend Abraham
Who had a
Toro.
Mariners
walk-off?
legend,
Abraham Toro.
Brewers legend Abraham Toro.
Who had a
That's
walk-off?
Jared Kelnick jumping up and down the down the first baseline
Nice.
with a
That's
walk-off
the
walk. Jared Kelnick jumping up and down the
Yeah, so the
down
A's finally got their
first
first
baseline with a
win.
walk-off walk.
Dude, they already have like 13 errors. Yeah, so the
In
A's
5
finally got
games.
their first
5
win.
games. That's a record,
Dude,
by
they already
the
have
way.
like
Put that in
13
notes.
errors.
in 5 games.
In 5 games.
That's a record, by the way.
errors
I
in
didn't put that in
5
notes.
games.
Like that's absolutely insane.
13
Absolutely insane.
errors in 5 games.
Like that's
also
absolutely
some
insane.
curious things that
Absolutely
the Athletics are
insane.
doing.
Silly.
After 7 at bats.
Also, some curious things that the Athletics are
and
doing,
crushing it.
for the
After
Athletics.
7 at bats, Ruiz
and
got
crushing
optioned
it for the
down
Athletics.
to AAA. What are they
Ruiz
doing? Got optioned down
He's batting
to AAA.
429
What are they doing?
to start the season.
He's batting
He's one of their most
429.
electric players.
Are they
To
like they're
start
literally
the
just
season.
trying? He's one of their most
You know what I
electric
just
players.
saw? I literally just
Are they
saw
like
this.
they're literally just trying to
It
lose
said
games.
that. You know what I just saw?
They
They
were
were
interviewing
interviewing Oakland's manager.
It said that
They were
Mark Kotsay,
interviewing
that's his
Oakland's manager, and they said that Ruiz was
name.
not going to make the
Mark
opening day
Kotsay, that's his
roster.
name.
If it wasn't from
And they
Miguel
said that
Andujar
Ruiz
getting
was
hurt.
not going to make the opening day roster if it wasn't
What?
from Miguel Andujar
The guy had
getting
60 stolen bases last year.
What are we talking about?
What?
He's one of your most
The
electric
guy had
players.
60 stolen
He missed
bases
20 to
last year.
30 What are we
games last
talking
year.
about?
I
He's
think
one of your
even like
most
40 or
electric
50.
players.
He missed
He
20 to 30 games
stolen
last year.
bases last
I think
year.
even like 40 or 50.
Yeah,
And he had
but
60 stolen
it's just the
bases last
Athletics,
year.
dude. Who knows?
Also, I don't think Brent Rooker has a
this
hit this
franchise
season.
It's just the Athletics, dude. Who knows?
that's crazy.
Also, I don't think Brent Rooker has a
Looked
hit
at
this
Athletics
season.
stats at all because
Wow,
I have the box score open
Yeah,
because
I
they
haven't
got
looked
blanked
at
by the Red
athletic
Sox
stats at all,
yesterday.
'cause
Of course.
they're the-
Well, I
Yeah,
have
he's
the
0
box
for
score
11.
open because they got blanked by the Red Sox yesterday. Of course.
OPS yeah, he's 0 for
of
11.
083.
That'll do it.
OPS.
we also
of
saw that the
083.
Angels got rocked by the
That'll do it.
Orioles, but they did
Squeak out a win
we also
in
saw
their
that the
last
Angels
game
got
against
rocked
them,
by
and
the
they did
Orioles,
win
but
their
they
first
did
game against the
squeak out
Marlins.
a win in their last game.
Texas
against
won
them,
their
and they
series
did
against the
win their
Cubs. They
first
did not
game
sweep
against the
them, but
Marlins.
they did win
Texas
that
won their
series.
series against the
Texas
Cubs. They
looked
did
good, not sweep them,
Janikowski
but they did
hit a
win that
game-tying home run
series.
in the
Texas
bottom of the
looked
ninth.
good.
Janikowski
Like, what are we doing?
hit a
Really?
game-tying
Texas is
home run in the bottom of
ridiculous.
the ninth. Like a
what
guy
are we
that they
doing,
just signed
dude?
like
Texas
a couple
is
weeks ago,
ridiculous.
re-signed, I should say. 'cause he
Like,
was with
a guy
the
that they
club
just
last year,
signed,
obviously.
like, a couple
On
weeks
their
ago,
ceremony night,
re-signed,
too.
I should say, because he was
and then
with
hits
the
a
club
bomb
last year,
to
obviously.
tie the game.
they're
On their
down
ceremony
3-2
night,
in the
too.
bottom of the ninth,
And then hits a
The
bomb.
reason why they were down was
There's
also
also-
stupid.
They're down
Right.
3-2
I don't
in the
remember that.
bottom of the ninth, and he hits.
The reason why they were
foul
down
ball
was
thing.
also
The umps
stupid.
have just been
I don't know if you remember
Bro,
that.
the umps have been terrible, dude.
It was a stupid foul
Like,
ball thing.
The
The umps
zones have been all over
not
the place.
great.
No, the umps
What I
have
will
been
say
terrible, dude.
with the Boston
Like,
series,
the
those
zones have been all
umpires
over the
were
place.
horrific.
And what I will
They're
say
bad. But at
with
least
the
they were
Boston series,
horrific for both
those
sides.
umpires were
So
horrific.
Castillo
They were
was
bad.
wild,
But at least
and
they
he
got
got
given
horrific
horrific
for
for
both
both
sides.
that
They
he really
were.
shouldn't have
So
had.
Castillo was wild, and he got
and then we
given a lot
did
of
to
strikes
stay in line
that he
with
really
Texas
shouldn't have had. Last
Um,
night,
and then we did to stay
There's a
in
big
line
injury.
with Texas.
Yeah,
last
Josh Young
night,
fractured wrist.
there's a big injury.
Now because of this injury, they
Yeah,
called up
Josh
their top
Young
prospect,
fractured
Justin
wrist.
Foscue,
who's a beast.
Now because of this injury, they called up their
Rangers
top
depth in their
prospect,
lineup
Justin
continues to
Foscue,
strike
who's a
again.
beast.
Yep.
So Rangers depth in their
Other than
lineup
that,
continues
Josh
to strike
Young, I don't know how long
Yep.
he's gonna be out for.
He's a fractured wrist. So
Other than that,
Yeah,
Josh
it'll be
Young, I don't know how
sometime.
long he's
It'll
gonna
be
be
a
out for.
He's a fractured wrist. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it'll
gonna
be
be sometime.
sometime.
Foscue
It'll be
got
a
called
minute.
up, so that's a name to keep an eye out for because he yeah.
Mm-hmm.
kind of rakes. Justin
And
Foscue
one
got
thing I
called
should've
up,
said
so
with
that's
the
a name to
Angels,
keep
I
an
don't
eye
know
out
why
for
I had
because
it
he
lower
kind of
here.
rakes.
is Mike
Yeah,
Trout.
I'm
One thing I
talking
should have
just
said
Mike
with the
Trout.
Angels, I
That
don't know why I
bomb
had
he
it
hit
lower
yesterday,
here.
He's
Is
like
Mike Trout
485
continues to
feet.
be Mike Trout?
It should have been
That
farther
bomb
than
he
that.
hit
Looks
yesterday,
further than
he
that.
hit it out of Marlins
485
Park.
feet.
Right.
It should have been farther than that.
It looks further than
But
that.
He
already
hit it
has
out of
3 home
Marlins
runs.
Park.
Right.
on the
Classic
season.
Marlins moment.
And the home runs
and
he's
he
getting,
already has
like,
3 home
He had
runs.
one of the typical
Classic
like,
Marlins
golf
moment.
And
Bottom
the
of
home
the
runs he's
zone,
getting, like he had
like,
one of the
just
typical
took
like
it.
golf bottom
It's
of the
like, oh, man.
zone.
We've seen that
like,
before.
Just took it.
Yeah.
But the Angels again,
It's
like
like, oh,
they're only
man.
going to go as far
We've
as
seen
Mike
that
Trout
before.
goes.
So,
But the Angels again, like
early
they're
on,
only going to go
that'll
as
be
far
what
as
it's
Mike
gonna
Trout
be.
goes. So, early on, that'll be what it's going to be. In our new studio, we have a window.
In our
right
new
above me that
studio,
you can't see on
we
camera,
have,
but one of our
we have
one of
a
the guys that
window
works
right
in our
above me that
office
you
is a
can't
huge
see on
Guardians
camera,
fan,
but
and
one of
decided to
our
put up a
one of the
sign that
guys
says
that works
go
in our
Dude,
office is a
that's
huge Guardians fan.
hilarious.
And decided to put
Anyway,
up
so
a sign
current
that says go
standings
Guardians.
as they
Dude,
sit,
that's
we have the
hilarious.
Rangers at the top 3-1.
Anyway, so current
We are
standings
at
as
2
they
at
sit,
3-2.
we have the Rangers at the
Angels
top
are sitting at
3-1.
2-2. The A's
We
are
are
1-4,
at
and
2
the
at
Astros
3-2.
1-4.
Angels
Welcome
are
to
sitting
the
at
summer,
2-2.
boys.
The
I mean, they're not
A's are
gonna be down
1-4.
there long.
One win, one no hitter.
1-4.
It is
Welcome
funny.
to the summer,
Yeah, they
boys.
only
I mean,
got
they're not
that
gonna be down there
one
long.
One win, one no hitter.
Because
It
they
is
threw
funny.
no hitter.
Yeah, they only got that one win. So
that
let's
one
get
win
into
because
our
they threw
player of the
no
week.
hitter.
Yeah, thanks for that. So let's get into our player of the week. All right, man. So I got to talk about this one. Because it irritates me that he does not get more credit than he already. So Josh Rojas is my player of the week. He put the ball in play. Now, granted, he only has 8 at bats. So yes, he has 4 hits. So yes, he's batting 500. Obviously, I know with 4 hits. He was no. What's funny is one of the games. He had an RBI. I was like tracking on my phone. I wasn't watching. I was looking at the game. I was looking at the game cast as it was going. And he got a ribby. Dude, Rojas is barreling everything. And he
Hit it 75 miles an hour. 75 miles an hour.
It was the one that just squeaked
on the
through
right
the
side.
infield.
Yeah.
On the right side.
But he's coming in clutch, dude. He's a way
clutch,
better
dude.
defender than
He's a way
Urias.
better defender than
He
Urias.
comes up in clutch.
He comes up in clutch
He's putting the ball in
situations.
play.
He's putting the ball in
Like,
play.
I'm like, how
Like,
long is it?
I'm
Gonna
like,
take
how
for him
long
to
is it
become
going
the
to take for him
everyday
to become
guy?
the everyday
So
guy?
far, dude, the results are I like Josh Rojas at third way better than Urias.
We also have mixed opinions. We also have mixed opinions on Rayleigh and Canzone.
Yes.
It's just how it is. It's just how it is. My player of the week is Logan Gilbert. Because I think he honestly he looked. It's tough to say that he was better. It's tough to say that he was better than Kirby, like stuff wise. It was pretty freaking. It was pretty freaking like his close. Splitter like his was gross. Splitter his was fastball. Gross. His fastball was a bullet. Like bullet. Obviously his fastball plays up to 100 because how tall he is.
Right.
And his cutter was like I said the best pitch out of any starter. So want to shout him out a little bit.
We need him.
Bit.
Yeah, dude. All right, let's move on to our hot corner. And finish this thing up. So my hot corner has to do with my player of the week. I think Josh Rojas is going to be our everyday third baseman by the end of April. I think Urias is going to. I don't love him. I don't. Urias, honestly, his plate discipline yesterday was fine. He got a walk.
He had a great at bat. That was a great at bat.
Well, after he got called strike on him because of the pitch clock, so nice. But he did work the count and did work a count to a walk, which is good. But dude, Rojas, if he keeps swinging the bat the way that he is, and then he's way better on defense than Urias. Also, Rojas is hitting righties and lefties just fine, both of them. I don't see how Scott would not call him the everyday third baseman by the end of April if Rojas continues to do what he's doing.
Yeah. By the way, Urias doesn't have a hit still.
Right.
Mine kind of has to do with it.
Speaking of,
I wanted to say a different month, but I'll be like a little bit nicer, even though this is not nice. I don't think Urias will be on the team by June. I could even say May,
it's
because
possible.
that's how bad it's been so far.
Yep. His defense is atrocious.
Have you seen the one post where it was like there was like it was like the Mariners, some like followed accounts like Muse and whatever, like there's screenshots of their group chat, and it was talking about Urias' defense, but it was like, well, he hit 191, so you're gonna have to deal with the defense if you want that kind of offensive production. Like they were just fed up with him.
I don't think he lasts long. Honestly, like he's a defensive liability. Like we're all going to be like, oh, ha ha ha, Urias, until he throws a ball away in the ninth to cost us a game.
Yeah, I mean right now he's 0 for 8.
Right. So he's not producing at the plate. His defense
He has 5
is
strikeouts.
subpar. He's got 5 strikeouts. I'm just like, bro, Josh Rojas is head and shoulders above them both. And then there were some people on X that are like throwing shade at Rojas. I'm like, did you watch the games? Like, you have some weird like opinions about Josh that like obviously are held over from last year or something, because all I'm saying is Josh Rojas is contributing. He's hitting the ball. He's got solid defense. Like I'm perfectly fine with having Josh Rojas as our everyday third baseman.
They both have 8 at-bats. One is 0 for 8 and one is 4 for 8. The one that's 0 for 8 is the worst defense out of the two.
And the one that is 4 for 8 also has 4 of those hits. Like his 4 hits all like mattered. They all came at big points in games.
Yeah, and they're all like solid hits.
And they were all like, yeah, well, except
the
for that exit velo. But anyways, all right, man. Wow, this dude, I don't know how we're gonna keep this show under an hour now. I don't know. Like we're gonna have to be. I don't know. There's always so much to talk about. Obviously, we're in the season. We're excited that things are going like this. Tonight we have Castillo,
Shane
versus Bieber. So should
Get
be
ready for another 1-0
I was
game.
gonna say should be a low scoring affair. Should be really fun. I'm excited, dude.
I might as well watch the Rainiers if I want to see some offense.
Wow. Except the Rainiers' offense has not been awesome either.
No.
But here's the deal. The season is young. We're 5 games in. We're over 500. We're 3-2. There's no alarm bells that need to be rung. We're fine. We're fine. Now, at a week from now, we'll let you know kind of where things are at. We'll keep you updated on everything that's going on around the league and then here in the division, and then also obviously with the Mariners. But hopefully a week from now, we're up a few games over 500, feeling great about things and keeping firing on all cylinders. Hey, as we have talked about, as we wrap this thing up, again, thanks for having a listener, having Steve and Joseph, tap in and ask us a question. So shout out to him. You could do the same. So hit us up on X, go direct message us, go at us, or call into our voicemail, which is 253-201-4364. Leave a voicemail if you want it to be played on the show and we can react to it. Totally fine. Thanks for listening though, guys.
Yeah.
Like honestly, every week we've got 55 subscribers to our show, which is awesome between all of our platforms. Obviously, our YouTube following continues to grow, and then we get more people listening to each episode, but we have 55 really consistent listeners. So those of you who are listening every week, thank you. Go interact with us. Go leave a comment. Go leave a rating. Go subscribe wherever you're at. Thanks for listening. Got anything else to add here, E?
We're so back.
We are so back, dude. This is the Soto Mojo Podcast. Have a good week.